Namaste.
Hello and welcome to the Sikkim Podcast brought to you by the Summit Times. Today we'll discuss what is happening with the One Family, One Job scheme. And to start with, we'll just give you a background of what the OFOJ scheme, how it began. Before that, let me just let the people introduce themselves today.
Hi, I'm Pema Wangchuk. I'm the consulting editor with Summit Times.
Hi, I'm Uttam Gurung, manager for Summit Times.
So today it's just three of us. I'm Tshering and so the OFOJ appointments were handed out on 12 January this year at Paju Stadium at the Rozgar Mela. And around 12,000 people got the appointment letters. And some more were added on later, I think.
There was a second round as well.
Yeah. And so the plan of the SDF government was to give appointments to 20,000 youth, unemployed youth. And so they could, but it was to be done phase-wise, in a phase-wise manner. So the first phase had around 12,000 youth getting the appointment orders. And this is basically just any youth who does not, in whose family there is no other government employee, they were getting a government job.
I think that was the priority. I think when they were deciding who should be prioritized, it would be people with no government servants in their family. They get first dibs. On the appointments. And what else? And these were not I think it's also important for people to bear in mind that these appointments were to posts that had been created specifically for the scheme.
Yes.
So people ranging from village guards to environment inspectors to a host of other things, which were not into existing posts, not into existing vacancies, but new posts had been created into which these 12,000 people were to be appointed.
Mostly like Group C and
Group C and D. Because beyond that, there are sitting Supreme Court orders also that beyond C and D, you cannot do whimsical appointments like this, not direct appointments.
And if I'm not mistaken, I think it was supposed to be during the month of December.
This was announced more than a year back during a Panchayat Sammelan in 2018 or 2017.
Yeah.
And the Rozgar Mela actually ended up happening in January when the appointments were handed out. The process began, I think, sometime in November and December when the list, Panchayats and MLAs were told to prepare lists.
So, of course, when the scheme was rolled out, when the appointment orders were handed out, again, there were a lot of complaints also. I think people were complaining that there have been a lot of irregularities where people who already have government servants in their families were also getting...
I'm sure.
There was no way of screening these candidates, appointments, right? It was just from the panchayat level...
The names came up.
I think that's how it was done.
Yeah, and that should not really surprise you because, I mean, think about it. When SPSC, which is an entire commission set up for government appointments, carries out these appointments and exams and whatever, it takes them almost a year, right? From the date when they announce to when the exams are held to when the appointments are finally made. It takes at least a year, I think, if that is minimum. In this case, in a month's time, you had like 12,000 names ready for government appointments. So I'm not at all surprised that there was some irregularities. I don't know, you got to call it oversights.
Yeah.
Irregularities would have you 12,000 people who will be angry with you because they were unemployed. Let's go with that, right? These 12,000 people were unemployed. In Sikkim's definition of employment, which is government employment, a lot of these people were employed with in the private sector. And I last time met a friend whose enterprise hires a lot of people, and he said overnight he lost like about 9 people just quit and left.
Yeah, obviously. I mean, I think in MG Mark 2 or 3 travel house that I know, there was like 4 or 5 employees. So when
suddenly there were none.
There was only the owner. So it's working on the
travel agencies,
travel agencies. So the entire staff of hers left for this.
They got employment.
Yeah,
under
employment.
OFOJ.
Yeah.
They were also talking. I mean, I have just heard
I mean,
some.
the nice part over here was, the salary what was they got in the appointment letter was much less compared to what they were getting in the private sector.
But that's the lure of government service, I think.
Even though like I think this OFJ, the condition was like it's the temporary for.
Temporary, as in government cannot give out permanent appointments without due process.
But still, then person who are getting like 15,000-20,000 salary, they left and they went for 19,000.
That is because वही government job एक बार मिल गया तो कैसे ना करके they will make it a permanent
yeah,
job.
and it's not rare. I've heard that a lot where people actually go on a salary demotion if it is a government job.
Yeah, so many. Even in this recent
appointment.
Manipal say the people who have gone to STNM. So they like almost half the salary they are getting in STNM, but STNM is a government job and Manipal is a private job.
No, even in government sector also, like person who are like appointment in work charge. So I mean they've been working in that category for say 2-3 years. So finally, with the time span, they get this regular appointment, but still they don't take regular because 30-40% whatever they're getting in the work charge. In the regular, they'll be getting that much less.
Less,
Yeah, so they don't take regularization.
Yeah, they don't take regular because the difference between regularization and the work charge is, क्या होता है? It's just a I think there's no pension scheme.
Pension doesn't exist for anyone.
I think there might be something.
No, you will not carry your seniority. Your increments you will not carry.
What about PF?
PF is PF.
No, like
hoga.
Hoga.
No, but what I think what happens, we are digressing. But from work charge, when you go into regularization, when you become a regular government servant, your meter starts from there, right?
Yeah.
So whatever salary enhancements and increments you might have collected as a work charge, that will get wiped out and you'll go down to the starting position again. Yeah.
Anyway, so coming back to OFOJ,
yes.
So what has happened recently is, I mean, after the SKM government came to power, so they have said that during the Model Code of Conduct, whatever appointments, not even appointments were already
appointments
made.
And joinings.
Appointments and joinings that were made during the appointments and joinings.
Yeah, that's what
during the Model Code of Conduct are to be cancelled. Withheld and cancelled was what the circular said.
Yeah, it is so.
So we have to be careful about
but they said both. They said withheld and cancelled.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that happens.
Then, so after that, of course, SDF said कि नहीं ये तो हम होने नहीं देंगे.
Yeah.
We'll go to court because, and they have a point also, no, where they said कि
if the appointments were made before the Model Code of Conduct and only the joinings happened during MCC, there is a point to be made that it is not a violation. Yeah,
because work that is already has already been started, that can continue during the Model Code of Conduct period. So that is what the SDF is saying. And then I'll just talk about what the IPR, not IPR, it was an IPR, what is it?
It was an IPR press release. I think they just forwarded DOP's press release, which was just a repetition of what SKM has been saying.
So in that, they had said that, where is it? Is this the one?
No, that is the first one. This is the one.
Yeah, rectification yesterday. Saturday.
So, of course, this set the cat among the pigeons, right? There was a lot of worry. A lot of people, of course, lost their jobs because it seems people's appointments were... suddenly the departments became very efficient, right? Imagine, just look at the scenario while you're doing your background reading. Imagine the scenario. The government handed out the appointment letters in January, first week, right? We know from anecdotal references that in many cases, candidates went to the department and the officers kept telling them, come next week, come next week, until the Model Code of Conduct came into play, right? So the same department, the same work culture, which delayed the joinings for about 3 months, or at least, around 3 months, right? When did the Model Code of Conduct come into play?
8 March.
8 March. So about 3 months, they delayed this whole thing. And suddenly the moment the government ordered that these have to be withheld and cancelled, overnight, such appointments are being cancelled. It's just an observation. I find this really weird that the government departments have become suddenly so efficient
Yeah,
when it comes to taking away someone's job.
Yeah, cancelling is easy. Anyway, so what the press communique from the IPR department had said was that this is a violation of the MCC norms, but they are doing this
it is one of the more
because-
convoluted press releases. It's like kind of almost at SDF level of language.
but but they said that genuine beneficiaries have been left out in the appointments, and to correct that, this whole thing is being done. I mean,
I like what the words they use. They say that.
So, wait, let me just read out. The release states, these genuine beneficiaries have been left out, and thus our aim is to review and verify so that poor people are not deprived of this chance. Review and verify.
Yeah.
Review and verify is completely different from cancelling.
Withheld and cancelled.
Withheld and cancelled.
So one side you're saying poor,
No,
genuine. The other side you're talking about MCC, Model Code of Conduct. I mean,
I think this happens when bureaucrats don't have the spine to ask कि भाई क्यों कर रहे हैं, right? The bosses tell them, okay, withhold and cancel. They withheld and cancelled, and then they say, okay, give a clarification. They'll give a clarification because this doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
They use the term that the illegal appointments, right?
Yeah.
That's the word they use. Illegal appointments are going to be rectified, not removed. So, which to me would mean that, okay, there have been illegal appointments. Now we will make them legal. But what do you mean when you say not removed, right?
Yeah.
Or what was that other term they use? Review and
verify.
Review and verify. The poor people. Are they saying that there are poor people in this list who we need to verify and then appoint again? Or are they saying that a lot of poor people got left out, so we will remove these people and these vacancies will be filled with these deserving candidates? We don't know. Right? And can they complain? Can they then say ki don't believe in rumors? Of course, it's in miscommunication and dodgy language like this that confusions arise, no?
Because my problem was also, we were talking about it, like you MCCC ko J criteria bhane ni unharle. I mean, if you really wanted to, now they are saying review and verify. Khas unharle thik गर्ने हो भने चाहिँ उनीहरूले त review all the appointments starting from not just MCC के under, all the appointments who are genuine.
More confusion.
I mean, the point that कहिलेको यो release? Yes, yesterday they first. The main idea was all the appointments since from day one, not that MCC one, because mostly this the Jamila starting from the second appointee, not from the first appointee, from the second appointment, which is somewhere within February last, because 20th February ma cha order appointment letter चाहिँ distribute गरेको थियो.
Second lot.
Second lot. I'm talking about second lot, which was like say 8 to 10,000 जति left over थियो उनीहरूले दिएको थियो हैन. So the problem starts from there, and now there are a lot of miscommunication in the sense like some are saying like genuine, poor guy, and first the entire debate and entire story was started by violating MCC conduct. So now they're segregating between genuine, non-genuine. So how do you define genuine, non-genuine? How do you define?
Yes.
Has it to be just for the second lot, or it should be done? Be done from
because from what we know, I mean, I don't know what the departments or the government is planning. From what we know right now, the scrutiny, the only thing under the microscope is the MCC, those who joined during the
MCC,
while MCC was in place, right?
Yeah.
Which means from 8th March onwards till recently when the results were declared.
I don't understand why they had to bring MCC into it. Why couldn't they just say ki pura whatever those hirings?
Do you realize that is about 20,000 people who will be like regretting the way they voted?
No, if SDF has a point, if SDF is serious and goes to court saying that there was no violation of MCC, then what will they do? Again, they'll have to
this is a political issue. I mean, this is clearly a political issue, right? I mean, no. The question here is how do you fix accountability? Because I think the original circular said that officers who allowed this to happen will also face action.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which is not going to happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because who do you target? It should be the HOD.
Yeah.
You can't touch them. will it be then the undersecretary who signed the appointment letter or issued the appointment letter or received the joining letter or the LDC or the head in charge? I don't know how these things happen. So that is not going to happen, right? That is all bolne ka baat. What I think is creating more confusion is because they're not sticking to the plan, to the point. If they kept saying MCC violations, we are scrutinizing those. These have been withheld, and we'll scrutinize and see if they're genuine. They'll be given fresh appointment orders or whatever, right? But in press conference, what have they been saying? The whole process was wrong. In one family, 2 people got a job.
Yeah.
That is different from...
That is rhetoric, right?
Yeah.
Now tell me, if the 2 of us are brothers, we both got OFOJ appointment letter. Now, according to rules, it's not the rules. Priority ka baat tha na?
Yeah.
Forget about that. 2 of us, that's illegal. Which of us will lose the job now? Or will both of us lose the job?
Yeah,
Which means our family again becomes without a government servant. Like, itna casually nahi hota na ye sab cheez. Especially when it is going to touch so many lives.
And I also wanted to get to that point where the people who joined during the MCC, the delay happened because of the departments telling them to come join.
That is what some people have been saying, right? They went and the department said, come next week, come next week, come next week, and then MCC comes in.
Because second lot Kavi also, what happened was like first lot sabko payo when they got this appointment letter. Rozgar Melama. So second lot also left out Koche. I think Panchayat councillor they was instructed saying कि और भी ऐसा जो candidate है taking the names genuine candidates है. So the process after the first lot, second process got you, and they had to like गाउँ-गाउँमा सबै ठाउँमा पञ्चायत काउन्सिलर के हुन्छ हैन. So everyone who were interested गएर चाहिँ नाम दियो हैन. Mostly of course like political नै थियो हैन सबै कुरा चाहिँ. So नाम दिँदाखेरि चाहिँ they were told कि like अभी ऐसा मेला तो होगा नहीं पल्सेसन में, you have to come and collect from आफ्नो ward र आफ्नो अफिसमा. So the entire process of getting the certificate, I mean that's
getting appointment,
sorry, 20 जो लिखा हुआ था till the handing over of the appointment letter, which was like it took nearly 15-20 days. Yeah. So that means lapse बीच में हो गया. Who is to be blamed now?
No, it's not about blame. It was quite simple. If it is indeed an MCC violation, the officers should have said, Acha, now the MCC is in place. Come, your appointment is valid because that had happened before the MCC kicked in. Your appointment is valid. Come and join after the election process is over.
I mean, that's the
if MCC is being violated and like this.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's an argument to be made that MCC does not get violated. Like the example I was giving, right? I have to get a payment from the government.
That's
department,
what,
right? My check was prepared today. Tomorrow MCC comes into play. I go to collect my check day after tomorrow. You will not give me the check?
No, even once process it, like for example, our advertising bill that we chase, the whole process from putting in the bill, writing in the file and putting up in the file, and the process from getting scrutinized, getting passed from all that thing, in between MCC, so do you think if file rokcha, it doesn't stop there because the process has already been started?
No, the file doesn't stop because of MCC. File just stops because the departments are so useless.
No,
it's not as if baki time mein bada efficiently.
No, even MCC mein we collected 2 or 3 payments, which happened.
Yeah, they'll take it back. They'll take it back. That has to be. No, what has to be done? So, it has to be rectified and verified and not removed.
No, like. I told you this also. I'd heard abhi bhi when people are going with the appointment letters, the secretaries or undersecretaries or whatever, like nahi. Abhi to MCC nahi chal raha hai na. In case like if there's someone who hasn't joined, they can still join, right?
I'm sure they can.
But I guess like.
But look at this scenario. They didn't get paid. Those who joined during MCC,
nothing.
Salary nahi mila.
Nothing.
Forget about whatever happens with their appointment or whatever, right? They should file a case against the government of slavery or something like that, no?
I know.
That I was made to work for all these days.
No, this is what, okay, on a serious note, it is very sad. These people who've got, pehle to salary unko, those who's joined, let's say in Jan and all that, Jan Feb, salary ke liye pura daudna pad raha hai, and I think they've got only around, some of them have got just 2 months salary. They've worked for 5 months, they've just got 2 months salary. And because they are like, this is almost like a favor that the government has done to them, the job, they cannot protest also, right? कि हमको salary चाहिए.
Which is wrong, I think. Which is wrong. Forget about whatever intentions or it's not a favor. You're doing a job.
Yeah. That's the
there
how
was an agreement you signed with the government in which your salary was mentioned. So you should receive your salary. But this is not unique to OFOJ. MR and work charge people have been seeing their salaries get delayed since forever because the departments are run so retardedly.
No, because I was thinking, why shouldn't one of them should file an RTI saying ki why is the delay being caused, right?
You think they'll say on record because we've got a useless accountant or
no,
secretary doesn't
just
care.
to speed things up and
it really scares them.
But
RTI
they cannot,
scares them.
But they cannot even think about doing that, no?
Which is what I was thinking, Think of the time before the elections. Every Tom and Dick and Harry who has some problem was holding a press conference, was coming out on the streets.
Yeah.
You had teachers protesting.
Yeah.
You had agriculture personnel protesting. You had private sector people saying कि हमको भी government में regularize करो. Right? Everybody was just crawling out of the woodwork, making demands and making a noise, which is a good thing for a democracy, right?
Definitely.
The moment you have a problem with anyone, you create tamasha about it, right? So many people have got their jobs taken away from them. Taking away someone's job is a very cruel act. I think it's a very violent, cruel act, right? To do it without explaining to them properly. Do you think any of these people were called over and explained what the confusion was or what their future held like? You think there was any government department in any government office who called these people who lost their jobs because of this MCC confusion? You think the concerned officer called them over, sat them down and said, don't worry, we are verifying this and you might get your job back. You think anyone did that? I don't think anyone did that. They were just all said, goodbye Tata.
I mean, today,
none of them has even issued a press release. None of them has even made an anonymous call to any media house saying, this is not fair what is happening to us.
Except for one lady which I quote.
No, because she's... That is because you know her, right? Yeah. I mean, ऐसे तो कितने लोग अपना दुखड़ा सुना रहे होंगे ना?
वही one of this cousin was telling me, people are like loan में gas और चूल्हा. To these people, OFOJ workers who are like, बेचारे rent में रह रहे, whatever, they haven't been paid for the past 3 months, 4 months, whatever. Loan में like chula or gas
now
you get gas and chula on loan.
I don't know why though. Installment which is that person has been paying.
Now one thing, I mean, if you have to take someone to the court, who will be? I think one would be my personal views. The political party which was yesterday during those days. उनको कुछ भी समझ में नहीं आता. I mean that paisa is like 16. 16. Yeah.
Too many zeros to count. To figure out what it is, eh?
16 crores. I know. Every month. I mean, if you pay
how like every month?
Every interest.
No, I'm talking about like if you calculate 8,000 average salary for 20,000 is 16 crores every month payout.
Okay.
One political party which was so hurry. Election.
It was obviously an election.
So no implementation, nothing.
No
planning. At least they should have done 6 months prior to like they 6 months already. Our दूसरे मंचे was working in the private. At least private sector 15-20 हजार तो कुछ मिलता था उनको. They left. The company closed down because
now there's not a job to go back to.
Even the Malik, even the owner is saying, "आप वो काम ही कर देना."
मोपनी ऑफिस में जांचो.
The other thing what I felt was when the appointment letter was handed over to each candidate, at least the concerning department may say all these people who are, I mean, jati jana huncha, they should have like boss joining letter दिएर एउटा काउन्सिलिङ जस्तै चाहिँ because सबैको त वही ग्रुप सी ग्रुप डी का job at least they should have a counseling like this. That
we live in utopia, no? So that's an ideal situation.
No, the thing is, I am angry because for political reasons only the OFOJ thing was made, and now again another party has come, and then that party is doing whatever it wants, and it's in all this it is the poor youth, unemployed youth who who was working in a private job, acha khasa, properly he or she was working, he left that job and came into this government job, and now.
Yes, I mean, I'm not even so much worried about the person who was in the private sector and joined this department, right? Because they obviously have the wherewithal and the skills to again go back to the private sector, right?
Sure.
It is about this person who had been desperate for a government job forever, finally lands it, the whole family celebrates, and now suddenly they don't have one. We don't even know how many people are affected by this.
Yeah.
Oh yes, and about that, the DOP had wanted a list of these candidates who had joined during the MCC, and that is supposed to have been submitted today.
On 10 June.
On 10 June.
Let's take bets on, do you think the department submitted that list?
No.
We had a 2-day weekend. Right? So I think they all forgot. It'll be interesting to find out, no?
Yeah.
Whether this list made its way back. I mean, there was a time when HRD did not know how many teachers they had. Can you imagine? And power department did not know how many work charge and MR employees they had at any given time.
Yeah.
I can't understand how that can happen. You think they know these things? No. Is there any proper record? They'll probably come up with, the person in charge was on leave last month, the last weekend.
They'll keep delaying it.
So, no, it is important. I think it's important for everyone, right? For the government, for the political parties, for us as media persons, to know how many people are being affected by this.
Yes.
Right? And it is also important for us to know that if indeed model code of conduct was violated, then what is the scale we are looking at?
Yeah.
What scale of violation we are looking at? So numbers are very important, I think, in this. And clarity.
Yes.
I think it's very important that someone come clean on, and someone has to, forget about media not doing its job or whatever, right? We should have found out today whether the list made it or not. But what about the affected kids, yeah?
Yes.
We probably got to check out Facebook or something, right? Someone must be posting like these sad sob things.
No, we've been hearing these stories. Last time Puran was saying about this guy who was sweating and he was like really in panic because his appointment had
panic attack because his appointment had been cancelled, and that's an engineer. Can you imagine?
There was a post, last time a guy committed suicide.
I'm not
I don't know
sure of the details.
What happened with that case? I'm not sure of that. That's a trigger.
Something like that.
This song related to Bandit, but we're not sure.
I don't know. Yeah,
could be also, who knows? Yeah.
It could be
a trigger.
Whatever. We are talking about at least the OFOJ thing. I think it went up to much more than that. But at least 12,000 people.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
they are owed an explanation. Yeah.
Yes, they are owed an explanation, and my advice to youngsters is forget about government jobs. Yeah, ऐसा ही होगा. So just find open a thela and
like Modi saying sabko
pakoda.
Not samosa, pakoda.
Yeah, shafale.
Shafale.
Meatballs.
होता सच्ची में. Anyway, so we should stop for today.
Yeah.
So
No, थोड़ा और गाली करते हैं इन लोग को.
Closing statements.
I was मलाई चाहिँ के जस्तो लाग्छ भने चाहिँ with this say 20 whatever the figures हामीले exactly figures चाहिँ we haven't got जे हुन्छ I guess उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ एउटा धोका is they've been cheated नि I mean that's the word that I can use नि someone has to be held accountable, and I guess this kind of thing has to be going around with media,
there has to be a bigger noise.
Yeah, bigger noise regarding, because this is, you just can't, the thing is, you come up with any scheme where it's not about 20,000 or 12,000, it's plus their kids, families and this thing. So if you add up, at least minimum, if you take 2 also per person, means it's affecting close to 50,000. That's the minimum that I feel. So, मेरो हिसाबमा चाहिँ has to be an accountability.
It should be taken seriously.
Yeah, you're saying accountability for the scheme itself, or why it was not drafted better, why it was not watertight.
Either it has to be a political party and didn't have the demand.
Political party.
Maybe a department, would advise, political party or the candidate saying कि यो चाहिँ, because एउटा मेरो fault चाहिँ what I felt was because the lady who got this appointment letter, I think she went 5 6 times to the department. आज आउनु यो छैन, भोलि आउनु यो छैन. It's just one. कतिजना त जान्दैन होला डेली to the office हैन. Just to see कि मलाई चाहिँ के जब पाउँछ. Because इसमें भी तो appointment letter में also specify नहीं किया हुआ है कि you are appointed so and so and group D and group C might be a pure no clerical something. तर एउटा specific job त हुनुपर्छ. Since accounts को background आयो भने चाहिँ I'll be looking after accounts को त हैन. त्यस्तो उनीहरूलाई चाहिँ के गाइडेन्स छ आज आउनु बहिनी भोलि आउनु पर्सि आउनु.
Yeah, that's the standard.
That's the harassment here. उल्टा काम भी तो नहीं मिला and you're giving harassment also, हैन.
Yeah. I think it's something that cannot just be ignored with just claims like they always do, right? That this was illegal, constitutionally invalid and things like that. I think forget about whatever, right? You do your bureaucratic stuff or you do your political stuff at one level. But I think in this whole episode, Sikkim has just exposed that it does not care for the lay people. No, like I was saying, right? No, forget about
genuine people.
These people should have, it really is, now it is, I mean, as it's thinking it is irritating me, right?
Yeah.
That these people were not even, I don't think anyone bothered to sit them down and tell them what was happening. They were just told, that's how they speak?
Yeah.
Right? Cancel by appointment. That's probably the kind of response they got. Can you imagine what kind of anger and resentment these people are going home with?
Yes.
And tomorrow when they get a chance to kind of pay you back, it's not going to be nice, no? And it's not about being proper or anything. It's just basic human decency, courtesy, right?
Yeah.
Private sector, maybe you're not fired over an SMS or a press release, right? They'll tell you that you are.
Politically also, you were saying, no, it's a bad move.
Yeah. Because there can be so much confusion built around it, no?
I just don't understand why they could just not say ki all the appointments we will verify and review and verify. Not bringing MCC into it at all so that there is no confusion. That would have I think that would have been fine.
So you continue on your jobs, but your file is being reviewed and verified.
And the worst part, around social, Facebook, social, it's just within two parties saying ki escape came, so now they're taking us for a ride. Misinformation.
That is what I'm saying.
Now the danger is instead of just getting setting aside inform, but it through media, through newspaper, through radio, different media. Now all the political parties from one attacking each other on this topic saying ki esto bhayo. Now you voted for that, esto bhayo, usto bhayo. But 6 mahina ta aur bhi hai na election ke liye boss.
Yeah. Anyway, this is messed up.
Anyway, so we will end the podcast today. Thank you very much for listening. Please like us, share.
Like us?
Like us. Like Summit Times and the Sikkim Podcast.
Yeah.
And us also, that's also would be nice. So, the Sikkim Podcast, we are also on YouTube, and Summit Times Daily is the name of our page on Facebook. Like us, comment.
Some comments would be nice.
Give it a like, give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
Subscribe, bell icon.
Bell icon.
So that the next time there is a drop, you'll get an alert.
In your mobile.
Bye.
Bye. See you.